theBrideScoop readers. I'm Tatiana, also known as the Gourmet Rambler, and I'm here at Saigon Sisters with Mary Aregoni, one of the owners. This is one of my favorite places for a variety of reasons, but I wanted to let Mary do the talking and ask her a few questions about the restaurant, and maybe get some of you to come and visit and try it out on your own time. So, Mary, when did your restaurant open?
This restaurant opens in October of last year, so it's about 8 months old. 8 months old, and but we started at the French market about a year and a half ago. So this part of my business is pretty new because I added dinner to the lunch program that people mostly know about at the French market.
And why did you call it Saigon Sisters?
Because Saigon is where my heritage is from. My parents are from there, and Sisters is because my sister and we started this business, and it has a good name to it, a good ring to it. So people, when they see that name, they know it's Vietnamese. So,
right, exactly.
Yeah, and that is sister.
So the focus of your cuisine here obviously is Vietnamese. Is there something special or unique to the menu here at Saigon Sisters?
Yes, it is. What I try to do is kind of filter the menu from many restaurants that you see in Argyle or whatever, where it's like 1,000 choices. So I narrow it down, make it very simple, and make it really, really good and approachable for people. So I pick and choose like the most popular categories. Okay, so that's why I started with the banh mi, the spring roll, and the pho for lunch.
Can you tell our readers what a banh mi is
Sure.
and what pho is?
Sure. A banh mi is a Vietnamese-style sandwich, and it's made with French baguette. It has wonderful meats inside and a really great combination of Vietnamese flavors, like the fresh herbs, like the cilantro, and then the daikon, the pickled daikon, and really, really hearty, meaty, satisfying sandwich. It's mostly hot, the sandwiches that we served here, and we, introduce very high-end ingredients like wagyu beef, duck confit, pork belly. So we want to distinguish ourselves from other banh mi places by making a little bit more gourmet, higher end, and not too many choices because we don't want to, have quality control problems.
The menu at Saigon Sisters is very focused. It is not overwhelming. Every item on the menu has its own place, and I, for one, think it's a very approachable place for somebody who's never tried Vietnamese food. Can you tell us a little bit about the pho?
Sure. The pho is my mom's recipe, and it's traditional pho. We don't do anything special to it, we cook it for 5 hours or overnight sometime to get that beefy broth of the chicken, from the bones and all of that, and using the spices of the star anise and coriander and cardamom. So very traditional, and it's a very popular dish in Asia, Vietnam, even the heat, in weather like this. They eat it from morning, noon and night, and it's catching on over here because it has a really addictive flavoring when you eat it, the smell of it, and it's just satisfying, and it's good for you because it's very healthy. It's not a lot of, oil, fat, or anything like that. So again, like our sandwiches, we want to use quality meats. So we use, really good beef and eye round, things like that. We really cook it for a long, long time. We don't do any shortcuts on that. So, but we don't have 10 choices of pho. We do one choice that has the beef, the meatball, the eye round. No tripe, unfortunately, but something, like you said, approachable.
In my opinion, pho from Saigon Sisters could probably heal broken bones, but what do I know? Let's move on. Where do your ingredients come from? Particularly of interest to me are your fresh ingredients and your sort of hard to find ingredients. Where do you source those?
Sure. The fresh ingredients, the basil, the bean sprout, those things are local. Like the bean sprouts I buy from Phoenix Beef. She does my tofu as well. So I use tofu from her, for my vegetarian pho and her bean sprouts. And she lives like, I mean, her factory is like 2 blocks from my house. She literally would drop,
local business.
I put order in, she drop it at my house, I bring it down here. I mean, it's that, you know, that kind of thing. The hard to find ingredients, I use a Nam Pho wholesale, they're in Chinatown. And he is the only one that I know that have mostly Vietnamese ingredients. Is hard to find. So luckily I found him, and he's kind of like my one-stop shop for like a lot of the sauces and the spices, things like that. But those things are hard to find locally because, you know, they're shipped from Vietnam or Thailand or something like that. But I try to get local as much as I can. Like the French market, you know, I use their produce. You know, if I can find red peppers, cilantro, cucumber, jalapenos from the vendors there, I buy from there.
That's fantastic. So you support local businesses. That's wonderful to hear. Does Saigon Sisters offer any catering for special events?
Yes, yes we do. We you know, have done several catering already, and we have really good practice with it. We did from a small private, you know, buyout party of the restaurant to an open house like for a technology firm where there's 150 people there, where we do you know, bartending, providing alcohol and finger food and pass order. So we do both inside, on-site and off-site, and we are getting calls for like private dinner at people's houses and things like that. So, and we're working on that side of things. But most of our catering has so far been for lunches and for like, I just had one that's like a spa party at a nail boutique where I made box lunches for them for like 60 people. So we can handle pretty big volume, you know, like I think up to 200 if it's like box lunches, something easy like that. If it's like a buffet dinner, it may take a little more work.
What do you think about a bachelorette party starting out with a private pho tasting at Saigon Sisters? Do you think that would be a good idea before a night of drinking?
Yeah. I never heard of that before, but that's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think if you know, they're into pho and they want something to go with pho, because when you eat pho, you want a little appetizers, you know, like spring rolls or like the bao, you know, a really good idea. My mixologist, you know, kind of gave me this idea is like to do some kind of like an interactive thing where it's like cocktails and spring roll pairing. You know, so we could do like really interesting thing like that where it's very good, it's out there and it's awesome with the cocktails, and maybe even show people how to do it, and you know, kind of very interactive.
Could it be an interactive event? Could they roll their own spring rolls?
Oh yeah.
Or build their own bao?
Yes, exactly. Okay. And the banh mi too.
Yes.
That would be awesome. And we could do a little food stand. We can make it look like a little street food thing, you know.
I could have some ideas for the banh mi sandwiches.
Yes, it would be fun. I mean, I think that's a great idea because Sunday we close here. We would love to do something, you know, where we open the restaurant to do training or interactive or party or bachelorette, that kind of thing. But if it's a buyout, you know, weekend is very tough, you know, of course, for a buyout. But like even like afternoon, Saturday, we can close the restaurant down just for the afternoon until dinner to do things like this. Yeah.
So there are options and there's some flexibility if somebody wanted to have this such an adventurous kind of a bachelorette party.
Or we can bring it to your location.
Yes, you can bring the party to the bachelorettes. What are some of the most popular items on your menu right now?
Well, the lunch, the most popular item, the signature dish is the pork belly sandwich. People love that. The hen house, which is the chicken one, that's the second most popular. And then in terms of the beef, the BBQ is very popular. But if you're adventurous, you know, the Frenchman, the duck, or the fish, sardines, people, you know, those are the more adventurous ones.
I want to try the sardine sandwich, Mary.
Yeah, so.
What is your personal favorite dish on your menu?
Okay, well, I really like for dinner, I really love the opla. You know, the opla is something that I grew up with. I ate, you know, like...
Could you tell our readers what opla is?
Okay.
And I actually don't know either, so...
Okay. Opla, it means eggs on a plate. So it's kind of like a phonetic, a French word mean opla, you know, like eggs on a plate. So in Vietnam and Laos, where I grew up, in Thailand and all that, that's a very comforting street food dish that people eat. It looks like a breakfast dish, but people eat it all day long. So.
What is an item that a person who's new to Saigon Sisters simply must have when they come here?
Simply must have when they come here. For lunch, I would definitely say try the sandwiches. You know, if you never had sandwiches before, because it will make you addicted. I think for dinner, you know, we have so many great ingredients that it's hard for me to zoom in on anything. But like the lamb luk lak, I call it, is like shaken lamb with rice and some greens. It's like a beautiful, clean, delicious dish that everybody loves when they eat that.
Well, thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with us and talk about your beautiful food here. If you have any requests for restaurant reviews for theBrideScoop.com, please send your requests to editor@theBrideScoop.com. And I want to thank Mary and Saigon Sisters for being our first foray into restaurant review. And thanks for tuning in. It's a big, brighter world out there. Let's start here.